Hello, everybody. We are
Alexandra Guapachá.
and Maria Fernanda Romero, and we're sharing with you the development of the activity Task 2 magazine from the group 74 in the course English 3.
Okay, today we'll give your answer to questions proposed in the forum.
Okay, so these questions we are going to answer comes from the documentary September 11, the new Pearl Harbor. And the first one says like this. Could the US Air Force have prevented the attacks? So, according to what we see in the documentary, many exercises were scheduled that day at the same time, specifically on that day, and just four jets were available or in alert to like defend the northeastern sector of the country. So in the testimonies shared, we see there is Colonel Robert Marr in the commander of northeastern sector, who determined that with only four aircraft they could not defend the entire sector that was being attacked. And he described it as a sensation of frustration. He said he didn't have the force available to do anything about that. And we can hear in the radio communications reported by the military and the air traffic controllers, and it is clear that they were looking for fighters that are the final line of defense, and they could have stopped or lessened the destruction of that day by shooting down the airliners, but they didn't receive any positive responses plus delayed intervention. So what
Okay,
do you say, Alexa?
next questions say were the twin towers demolished with explosives? And of course, in the video you can see that they were not demolished, but that it was a terrorist act first with explosive. Next.
Okay. Maybe I differ with that because it is really shocking just thinking about that the U.S. could do that to their own people. It is really like terrifying just thinking about that. But in the documentary, we see some facts and scientific facts that says that there were explosives in the area or in the building, that there were some recordings that they say they really can hear the explosions, but and at least we start looking at the evidence or the scientific facts that they present, and like it starts to make sense that they could be using explosives to shoot down the twin towers. So that's what I think. Um, but yeah, next question. Were some people forewarned about the attacks? Do you have something
Yes,
to say about it?
yes, there were Secret Service reports that were real as were they reports described as possible airstrike every month before.
Okay. Yeah, and we know there are several informs about how since 1998 that the intelligence community collected information indicating that Bin Laden wanted to coordinate an attack inside of the country by using hijacked airplanes, and there were a lot of reports also from um, some foreign secret services, as you say, before the date that happens. Um, they said that an attack using hijacked airplanes were imminent. And I have two more facts or like yeah, facts about it. And after September 11th, there were congressmen denouncing the pre-knowledge of information. And in the documentary, there's a clip where Republican Court Walton said that it was an attempt to prevent the American people from knowing the truth and the facts about how they could have prevented 911. And people were covering it up on that day. Also, in August of 2001, the FBI agent Pauline Rowley discovered information that could have led to discover the plot behind all that happened that day. And she said she sent some memos, but they didn't get to the person that could have done something about it.
Next question say, was the Pentagon really hit by a plane? Actually, the Pentagon building was run over by plane. In the video, you can see and the Esther says that precise American Airlines Flight 777 was the three flight hijacked as part of the act in September 11, 2001 and was delivery crashed into Pentagon headquarters of the United States Department of Defense.
Okay, so that's right. So, of course, the official version tells us that it was hit by the hijacked flight, American 77, but there in the documentary we can see that there is no proof of it. Unlike that, there's evidence that proves that what hit the Pentagon was a different thing, and we certainly can't figure it out because the videos that were released on that day, no, after that day, they confiscated all the videos or all the cameras, security cameras are around the place, and they didn't show anything, and just one video that was manipulated. They investigated in that video. If we analyze it, there are some seconds that are like photoshopped in the video, and so even the parts of the plane that are supposed to be indestructible were not found by anyone inside or outside of the building. And the opening, like the hole that the impact left before the supposed airplane impact, is about the half of the size of the airplane that were in question. So if we cannot like be suspicious about it before we see this evidence. So yeah, next question. It says, could the attacks have been prevented? What do you think, Alexa?
Of course, because the United States government is supposed to know about these terrorist attacks that were going to take place, they only kept in secret. You say? You that say?
Okay, we already talked about the fighters in the first question, like the the ultimate line of defense in the U.S. force, and they could have lessened the destruction of that day. And all the information that was revealed about people that knew what was going to happen that day, and they attempted to prevent national security about this issue. But honestly, I just supposing that was really an attack from the outside of the country. They could just have be prepared. They could just have prepared to receive an attack and like to stop it at certain time, and they could just like take action when they already know that the hijacked airplanes or the airplanes were hijacked, right? But anyways, we know in that time the hijacked airplanes didn't have like some military purposes. It was more like political issues. They were used to see a hijacked airplane and talk with the hijackers and come to an agreement to descend and yes, make an agreement. So if this all was orchestrated, it is just ridiculous thinking about something that at the end could have pretended because was orchestrated. But if it was not, they could just have be prepared to receive the attack. So yeah, next question.
Next questions. What Osama Osama bin Laden really captured and killed? You say?
Okay, we all know the official version, right? And they are like yeah, it's just a statement that the U.S. government say that they captured him and killed him. And do you want to share us the name of the operation?
Mm, pues, ay, yes, he was killed when the United States military sure circulated him and abroad Pakistan. The mission was called Neptune's Spare under the order of the United States government.
Yeah, that's right, and that's all we know about it because um anything we couldn't be there right to see. In the other questions we have like some facts that we could see in the documentary and some proofs and scientific facts, but in this matter I don't know. I'm not really sure what to say because if this all was a big lie, the um, the thing about Osama bin Laden could be a lie, but that's all we know, that he was captured and killed. Yeah. So the next question is: was 911 caused by the American government on purpose? Mm, I could say that if we analyze the historical and economical and political background of the country in that season, that is behind the origin marked by the events of 911 and the preparations for a war against the terrorism. Um, in the documentary, we can see a report of 1998 where they mention a need for multiply pipeline routes for Central Asian oil and gas. So they were looking for that resources in Central Asian and yeah, and in the east. Uh, so they needed like um I went. I just forget one. They wanted to invade Afghanistan and they needed credible excuses to do so. So it will be logic, or it will make sense if it was on purpose.
On purpose. And so I was the United States government itself that orchestrated and carried out the attacks in false flag operations. This growth of conspiration theories questions the cause, and I think but made it happen on purpose. They did on purpose.
Yeah, that was on purpose. That was purpose. So I can leave some conclusions after the activity. A few months ago, I was watching a video about human rights, and while they were talking about acts that violate human rights, and they mentioned governments and individuals who try to justify the violation by using the excuse that they want to defend the human rights. And while they were talking about this, we could see images were images of the point to the United States in the screen. And of course, I understood the idea in that moment, but no one in this century is unaware of the losses that have taken place in the midst of America's war against terrorism in the Middle East. But I really didn't know how deep and dark could that be, what America is accused of. And after watching this documentary, I could never see I will never see it the same way. And neither stop thinking that all the losses were made amid a big lie, and this is the saddest thing of everything. So, do you have something more to what? No?
Yes, personally, I think this was done on purpose and left a great story in the United States. And I leave sad memories in people, no more.
So yeah, and that was our contributions to the development of this activity, and yeah, we are going to use this speaking forum to make agreements and make the final document with the magazine. So thank you, Alexa, and thank you everyone that is seeing this video, and hope you're doing well.
Thank you, María Fernanda. Bye.